So crazy story about dogs. There's a family that lives in our neighborhood, and their dog got out one day, and we were on our morning walk, and so I saw the dog and I grabbed him. We had an extra leash, so I threw the leash on, and just took this dog on our walk and brought it home. We didn't know whose it was, or even if it was somebody in the neighborhoods, but we were like, well, it's a dog on the run. It has a collar on. It had no tags, but it had a collar on. So we were like, oh, let's take the dog, because that way we can figure out, you know, who its owner is. And I work from home, so I can do some research and figure it out. So I start doing some research. I post in a Facebook group. I'm looking everywhere, trying to figure it out. Eventually, I bring the dog to our vet, and we scan the microchip, find the owners, give them a call, whatever. So the woman was like, oh, I had to go to work, so can I pick them up on like my lunch break? And I was like, yep, that's totally fine. Like, I work from home, I'll be around. So they come on our lunch break, and they were like, hey, you know, did our dogs get along? I was like, yeah, actually, they hung out, they played all day. It was a great time. My dog was super happy, your dog was super happy. And she was like, oh, that's so exciting. We have a husky at home, so maybe that's why our dog like ran right up to you guys, was she thought, or he thought maybe it was our husky. And I was like, that's a crazy leap in logic, but maybe. So she's like, our male husky is like, you know, a year old. And I was like, oh, that's so cute, whatever. She's 2. And she looks me in the eyes and goes, would you have any interest in breeding your dog? And I was like, A, that's a weird fucking question to ask to someone you just met. Also, she's neutered, so spayed, she's spayed. So literally not even on the table. So she's like, all right. She takes the dog back, and that was all good. 2 weeks after that, so this girl texts me, and she's like, hey, Casper, our dog, got out again. If you see him, will you let me know? I was like, yeah, totally fine. No big deal. And I would like to point out, when she lost the dog the first time, she said that she basically took her dogs on a walk in the morning before she went to work, and then noticed that her dog was gone, but had to go to work. So she just left. And I was like, what? You just left? Like, she was just like, ah, dang, I don't have my dog. That's so cringe. And she just dipped. She was like, oh, that sucks. Nothing I can do about it. So anyway, that just kind of like paints the picture of the type of person we're talking about. So moving on from that, she then texts me after she finds the dog a couple weeks ago. And she goes, hey, we found him, blah, blah, whatever. And I'm like, oh, that's so great. Good for you. She follows it up with maybe the craziest message I've ever received, which was, would you want one of the dogs? And I was like, no. But all I could think was, how do you even ask that? To someone you don't know. I could be an animal abuser. You don't know. I just took care of your dog for like 4 hours. What? How? Why? Why are you even asking me that? How can you be asking me that? And so I was like, well, not really. I can barely handle my dog. My dog's a psychopath. Why would I want to add another dog to that? Also, I don't have enough money to financially support 2 dogs destroying my house. Because they would. You know, I love dogs. But they would destroy my house, for sure. And I was like, I can't support that. But she was just like, okay, I understand. But then I felt bad, and I was like, dang, well, if you're just going to get rid of the dog, like, I don't want this dog to just go into a shelter. But yeah, I don't know. It was crazy. It made me think she was saying that they adopted the dog. But I was like, did you like adopt this older dog and then immediately go adopt the younger dog? Like, was it a quick turnaround? You were just like, oh, we got one dog. It would be nice if our dog could play with another dog. And then you just immediately got another dog? That's psychotic. I have my dog. We've had our dog for like 4 months now. And at times I'm like, oh yeah, it would be nice if she could play with another dog. I'm not immediately going to get another dog. That's crazy. That's what crazy people do. So I couldn't believe it. And I really can't believe that she was just ready to, oh, take my dog. Yep, no, too much work, sorry. I feel like she went through a phase, wanted the dogs, and then realized how much responsibility it is. Yeah, and the crazy part, you're right, you're 100% right. The crazy part was she was like, yeah, me and my husband are like struggling. And I was like, wait, so it's not just you? But I was like, you have a whole other fucking human being that is also this inconsiderate of other people and the animals? That's borderline impressive. I was truly impressed. Yeah, so that's my story of my psychotic neighbor and her dogs. And it also, like, bothers me. If that was the expectation, she was just like, well, somebody will find my dog. How do you put that on somebody else? You're just like, yeah, you can do it. I believe in you. That's so wild. It's also just so wrong. Like, that's an animal. If you're gonna take care of it, take care of it. Don't just be a little jerky poo. And, oh, I forgot to mention this part. The crazy part was she mentioned, or when she offered me the dog, she offered me either dog. She was like, do you want either of them? She was like, do you want the dog you already took care of, or do you want the other husky? You can pick. I was like, that's psychotic. That's absolutely insane. How do you just want to give away a dog? And I was tempted to say yes. You know, I want the dogs to be happy. I want them to be in a good home and everything. But my dog is so much work. I can barely take care of it. So I was like, I can't take on another dog. That's some sick way to try to get people to take their dogs. I know, it made me wonder if I was like, is this a scheme you run? Like, do you do this repetitively? So I was like, how many dogs do you think this lady has given away? Is it just the one? I have a hard time believing it's just the one. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's no way that this is the first time. I've now created this whole, like, fantasy in my head where she catfishes people, but it's, like, to get rid of her dogs. That's a good Thriller Psycho story. I know! It would be. Right? I have to work in, like, how she ends up murdering you, but overall, good plot to the story. So you take the dog after the situation, then she comes to visit. Ah! I actually think that would probably be the way it would go, right? She'd be like, oh, can I come visit my dog? Or they'd pull the, like, oh, would you want to have a play date with my dog and my old dog? Right? That's really the move. But would she want... No, what I think... Oh, no, because then she'd be at fault. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. It would totally be she would want to come visit the dog. Because then she could kill me in my house. And all of the evidence would stay in my house. And so then she could pin it on either one of my roommates. Damn. I'm really lucky I didn't take this dog. So actually a massive W for declining a new dog. Massive W. It's gonna be a crazy statement, but I'm gonna stand by it. It would make her a better person if that's why she was trying to give me the dog, than if she just didn't want the dog anymore. That could be her play. Oh my god, I walked in to visit my dog, and I found the body. He was just dead on the ground there. It's a pretty good play, honestly. That would be a pretty good one.